Humans of Ansche Chesed, a Shabbat edition. Prologue. I am Debbie Greenberg, and I have been a member of Ansche Chesed for over 30 years. Throughout all of these years, Shabbat has been an important part of my life. My experience of Shabbat has evolved through my relationship with Ansche Chesed. I'm going to share some rabbinical wisdom and thoughts on this evolution in 4 short chapters. Chapter 1. Rabbi Jill Hammer on Shabbat. Quote, "My own travel through Shabbat begins with the lighting of the candles. I cover my eyes and recite the blessings. Then I uncover my eyes to reveal the twin lights in front of me. Each week they seem to teach a different duality, action and reflection, heaven and earth. After lighting the candles, I try to guide my spirit into a peaceful place. The food has all been prepared, the guests are invited, and the lights are dimmed. Even if I'm in a hurry, my spirit calms within me." Unquote. As a young couple, Marty and I had to figure out how to move into a Jewish life together. Most Friday nights we stayed home, usually had a big fight, and discharged the tension of the week. When it was over, we lit Shabbos candles and calmed down. Marty's grandmother moved to Florida 5 months after we married and took her challah recipe with her. That is the origin story of my challah, the recipe in the Ansche Chesed cookbook, the challah I bring when I am invited for a Shabbat meal, the challah I share at the end of Yom Kippur. I spent 6 months trying to replicate that recipe. Graham had it in her head and could not share it. When Marty agreed this was the one, I began baking challah weekly. Chapter 2. Reb Zalman Schachter Shalomi on Shabbat. Quote, "We encounter multiple faces of God throughout Shabbos. On Friday night, we encounter the beauty, wisdom, and gentleness of the Shekhinah, the Queen, and the prayers are peaceful and soothing. On Saturday morning, when the Torah is read, we encounter the Ein Sof, the infinite and unknowable, the aspects of God, and the songs we sing are stately and joyful." Unquote. When our son Ben was 2, we decided we needed a Jewish community to support our family and our Jewish values. There were 3 other families of Ansche Chesed searching for a similar community. We formed our Shabbat group. We had lunch together once a month and began attending Shabbat morning services together until our youngest were teenagers. We were at all 9 of our family's B'nai Mitzvot, including 3 of the mothers. When our children married in Israel and California, our Shabbat group traveled to be there with us. When there were medical problems, we cooked for each other and we prayed for each other. We attended our parents' funerals together, sat Sheva and nurtured each other. We have been a blessing in each other's lives as we have argued about politics, shared our child-rearing joys and agita, and our own aging issues. The loving place that was our shared Shabbat experience nurtured all of this, continuously expanding our Ansche Chesed community. Chapter 3. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel on Shabbat. Quote, "The Sabbath is a reminder of 2 worlds, this world and the world to come. It is an example of both worlds, for the Sabbath is joy, holiness, and rest. Joy is part of this world. Holiness and rest are something of the world to come." Unquote. As our nest has emptied, Shabbat preparation has become more conscious transition for me. I begin to plan for Shabbos on Wednesday with the shopping list of ingredients that go into the meals. Thursday night I bake challah and make soup. When I joined a CSA, mindful eating became part of Shabbat as I thought about where my food came from and the chain of nurturing that creates these meals. I read the JTS Torah online, which began when I was treated for breast cancer and I couldn't get to shul. It gave me comfort then and continues to give me a sense of connection now. On Friday afternoons, I make what my children named my mitzvah calls. Getting ready for Shabbat means taking time to talk with friends and family who I want to give a weekly phone hug to. Finally, before Shabbat comes in, Marty and I call to bless our children no matter where they are, unless there is no cell phone reception, like when they were in the Dominican Republic and Lithuania. All of this helps me to let go of the week of doing and move into the day of being. Chapter 4. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs on Shabbat. Quote, Shabbat is one of the greatest institutions the world has ever known. What Shabbat did, and still does, is to create space within our lives in which we are truly free. Free from the pressures of work, free to be ourselves in the company of those we love. This day has renewed its meaning, generation after generation. In Moses' day, it meant freedom from slavery to Pharaoh. In the 19th century, it meant freedom from sweatshop conditions. In our day, it means freedom from emails, smartphones, and the demands of 24/7 availability. Judaism remains as vital and creative as it ever was. The reason is Shabbat, the day that gives us the strength to keep on creating, unquote. Marty and I have given ourselves permission to change it up for Shabbat once in a while. After a long week, being at home or with friends is what we prefer. But if it has been a particularly stressful week, we plan for a pajama Shabbat. No guests, wearing sweatpants, and going to sleep early. We have started seeking out liberal shuls when we travel. We celebrated our 40th anniversary at Simchat Shabbat in Honolulu, under a chuppah with leis on. In London, after Friday night services, we were invited to the home of the rabbi for an annual dinner he hosts for those in the shul who are getting married in the year ahead. The rabbi asked us to share what was still meaningful about our wedding ceremony as we think about it all these years ago. And in Germany, we spent Friday morning in Dachau and Friday evening in shul. The rabbi was most welcoming, including announcing pages for us in English. We were invited to stay for their potluck meal, and the Chazan shared his CD as a gift to remember them by. We were so inspired that such a vibrant community was thriving in Munich 70 years after the Holocaust, grateful to spend time with them. They were appreciative of our visit as a connection to a larger Jewish world. Epilogue. Rabbi Greenberg on Shabbat. Quote, Shabbat is not just about affirming that things can be different. Shabbat actually has redemptive power, power that can shape our experience of the world. Shabbat leaves us with a mandate to live differently in the coming week than we did in the week past, to see each week as an opportunity to elevate our reality, to reflect a bit more of what it ought to be, unquote. Shabbat continues to be a weekly challenge and a weekly blessing. There is always so much to do to get ready, and I regularly feel I should be better at it after all these years. Then there is the pleasure of letting go and remembering how much Marty and I are blessed with. Our children, Katie and Matan, and Ben and Sarah, have chosen to be parts of communities that create meaningful Shabbat experiences. That is a joy for us, no matter how far away from them we are. Ansche Chesed has encouraged me to deepen my Shabbat experience. I am grateful for, and I look forward to, continuing to share Shabbat with my fellow humans of Ansche Chesed.